So, you got your tax return and you're trying to blow it on some hunting gear? Sounds like a great idea. So on this video, I'm gonna give you 5 things to spend your tax return dollars on to maybe improve your fall. And this came to me from my Patreon group, and I appreciate those guys to a high level and try and give back with some tips, tactics, and a little higher level pursuit of what I got going on here on Whitetail Experience. But let's get to the list. Now, before you blow this money on gear, take you 100, 150 bucks, put it in your gun safe. That is gas or delivery of like food services for your family when you're gone hunting. Like, that is your emergency fund. I think you got to set yourself up for success. Like late October, when you start hunting a little harder, you know, you got that Uber Eats fund for the wife and kids. That really makes the home life a lot better. Definitely recommend. Now, number 1 is the Kodiak canvas wall tent. And this is a big ticket item. It's, you know, $500 plus or minus a little bit depending where you find it on sale. But this thing I have bought 4 or 5 years ago, and man, every time I use it, I'm like, this is great money spent. It's a 6.5 foot ceiling. I have the 10 by 10 version. Sets up with one guy in about 15 minutes. That's maybe 10, honestly. To me, it's like 4 posts. It's just a great like 3.5, 4 season type tent. Put a little buddy heater in there. We used it last weekend on our March shed hunting and scouting trip. This thing rocks. So I'm giving that the gold stamp of approval. It's great for out-of-state hunts. Maybe if you're staying the night away, I really give that thing a high regard. Now, number 2, let's talk boots. And the reason I put boots on the list, it's not a flashy item, but it's a very important item. And I have found that I am buying more expensive boots. And if you put a lot of miles on, you can go through boots rather quickly. It's just, that's the nature of the beast. Me personally, I do have a couple boots that I like, and a couple boots I want to try. The Solos, I like those for more of a stiff boot that cuts down on like foot fatigue, does better on like side hilling. And I do recommend getting the wide version of those because they're a little narrower build overall. So my feet aren't wide by any means, but I really like that boot in a wide setting. I've ran the Keens for years. I've got like 2 or 3 pairs of them, you know, a couple hundred miles on them. They're a very comfortable boot. The only negative is after side hilling over like 4 or 5 miles in a single day, like they're just not as tough as say a stiffer boot. I've tried on some Loas. I've never tried on a Crispy, but those are on my list to maybe add to the arsenal at some point. Next up, this is a new gear item. The X2 stick from XOP. This is a double step stick, 1.5 pounds, built-in aider holes, a lot of boot room. This has been my favorite climbing stick I have tried to date. And those should be out around June. They actually just released a small batch the other day, so be on the lookout for those. I just really think those are a good option for somebody looking for a maybe slightly lighter beast style stick, or just a really good double step that does a lot of things really well. And your tax return is arrows, right? Chances are you've probably busted some arrows, lost some arrows. Maybe you were lucky enough to put one through a deer. So if you're gonna upgrade arrows or look at that, I am going with the Exodus MMT arrows, and literally doing it for several reasons. It should be a very easy process. These custom arrows literally come to your door ready to rock and roll. If you want a 3 or a 4 fletch, all the components are higher end, and there is no jack around factor. And for a guy with family and scouting time being a very big priority right now, that's the arrow I'm gonna get sent to my door. And finally, now this is a search I find myself in right now, is a pack. And so if you have recommendations, drop them in the comments. But I'm looking for an internal or external type frame bag, roughly let's call it 1,800 to 2,000 cubic inches. And I want some good external straps to either carry a climbing stick or potentially a saddle platform. I have ran the QU Icon 1850 for a couple years, and you know, I just don't love it. So I am looking to upgrade. I know Mystery Ranch dropped some new packs this year. Badlands has some options. There's quite a few out there, and so if you guys have one you really like, that is kind of what I'm searching for. I appreciate you guys watching the video. Team Harder and Bucks, we're out.